everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was looking on the LA Girl website and I came across this palette. This is their brand new palette. This is the Born exclusive eyeshadow palette. Isn't that packaging just gorgeous? It's textured. There are 35 shades in this limited edition palette. I did not swatch it. You know I'm not a swatch girl, but this is the palette. It has a beautiful combination of mattes and shimmers. There are 35 shades and there are 14 mattes and 21 shimmers. They have a nice combination of warms and cools, even though there are more warm shades than there are cool. On the LA Girl website, of course you can buy it from the LA Girl website, but they also have a link where you can check the different CVS stores that are carrying it. You click on there and it'll give you the list of CVS stores that are carrying this palette. Therefore, you can certainly get it on there. The palette is $25. I thought it was very reasonable for the amount of shades, and I was so pleasantly surprised with this palette. I think that it is one of the nicest palettes that I have used from the drugstore. I loved it so much, and the palette is just so massive that I had to create 3 looks with it. I think the packaging is just so elegant and it's so beautifully put together that I just had to have it. The other thing that I really like about this palette, and it doesn't take, this does not take away or add to the palette itself, but it's the names on all of the shades are just, they're positive. There's nothing negative about this palette. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, and I did not take a picture of it before I started playing it with it. When I got it in the mail, I just wanted to dip my fingers in it right away. This is really one of the best palettes from the drugstore that I've had the pleasure of using, and I loved it so much that I created 3 looks so you can see how it applies and give you some ideas with the palette. For my first look, I started with the transition shade using the shade Posh with a fluffy brush, and I blended. It blended well and easily. Next, I went in with Poise on the outer V with a flat shader brush, and I brought it up to Posh in order to blend. As you can see, these blend really, really nicely. I used Eclectic on the inner portion of my eye, and then I added Trendy to the mid-lid and overlapping Poise on the outer V to fuse onto each other. As you can see, they go on really well, the shimmers and the mattes. Just beautiful. I love the way these shades look together. For my lower lash line, I used Poise, and I joined it in with Poise on my outer V. And here's look number 1. I think it just turned out so pretty. For look number 2, I applied exclusive all over my lid, dried with a flat brush. I started light and then I started building it. I think it's such a pretty shade, and it just looked so beautiful, and the key was really to build it. Next, I used Sociable on the inner portion, and I overlapped the first shade, Exclusive. And I continued just building just to brighten up my eye and just open them up a bit more. For my outer V, I used Kind, and I continue building it in order to have that darkness and make the contrast with the light that I added to the inner V. I took that same shade, Humble, and I added that under my brow and in my inner corner. For my lower lash line, I used Kind, and then I brought it up to join my outer V. Then I used the shade Gracious to create a transition and eliminate any harsh edges. and it just blended so beautifully. I didn't have any problem at all with these purple shades. I continue blending a little bit more just to define all of the shades. And here's the finished look. I think it turned out so pretty. I did not want to wash this look up. Just such pretty shades. For the look that I am wearing today, that is my look number 3, and I had a lot of fun with this look because blues and greens are not really what I usually work with. So what I did with this look, I started out with Trend in my inner corner, or Trendy, not Trend, in my inner corner, and then I started overlapping Talented on the mid area of my lid. And I continued just patting down this beautiful shimmer shade. Then I went in with Vivacious, which is a light green, to the outer corner of my eye. And I built it up. Then I went in with for the outer V, I used Mod. And then I started deepening it with Extra, and I continue to build up and make that outer V darker with that shade. That is a matte shade, and as you can see, I continued building it up, and I just used a patting motion on it, just patting and bringing it up, and I will blend. Here I am blending, and in order to blend, I'm using the shade Poise to create that transition. For my inner corner, I used, what did I use? I used Eclectic in my inner corner. Then I started bringing it up, and that helps really brighten up the eye. And I just went gently for the lower lash line. I went back with Extra, and I joined it with my outer V. Then I went back and I continued blending and blending, so there would be no harsh edges. There was a little bit of fallout, but as you can see, it just went off. And here is the finished look. I really like the way this turned out. I love the way this look finally turned out, and I certainly had so much fun with this palette. I highly recommend it. It's certainly worth looking into. Just because of what I said at first, it's just easy it applies beautifully. It's easy to blend. The shades are so pigmented, and you can always build it up. The mattes work beautifully. They're smooth, as well as the shimmers. And the shimmers are not so in your face type of shimmers. As you saw in the looks that I created, I used primarily shimmers, whether it was in my crease or it was in my outer V or my lower lash line, and I thought that the looks turned out really pretty. It's only a matter of just starting out light and then building it up. I know I'm going to get a lot of use out of this palette. I think it is beautiful. I think it has a great price point. Everything that I used in all the looks will be listed down below. I'm going to separate them by the different looks and the lipsticks and the blushes and all of that good stuff. For my foundation, for all 3 looks, I use the LA Girl foundation. I've had it on right now probably for about 6 hours, and I think it's still looking pretty darn good. I really like the way it looks. I think it looks pretty. It looks natural. It does a good job of covering, but without looking cakey. I don't know how much longer it's going to last, because this is actually the second day that I use it, and on the first day I only wore it for about 4 or 5 hours. So today I'm going to have it on a little bit longer, and I will leave it down in the description box. So yeah, everything that I use, lipstick, everything else will be listed in the description box, and I'll have links. And if you like this type of video, if you would please either leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, and that way I know that you enjoy these types of videos. I really enjoyed this is the first time I do a video like this, and I had so much fun putting it together. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. And don't forget, ladies, follow your passion, whatever it may be. I'll see you next time. Bye.